If you didn't know, this meeting is being recorded. Hello and welcome everyone to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, May 25th, 2021. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the founder of Notary Coach, author of Sign and Thrive, and host of the new podcast, A Side Hustle Lounge. I'm here with my two incredible co-hosts. You know Carol Ray from Notary to Pro. Carol, welcome. And can you tell everybody what Notary to Pro is all about?
Basically, we teach notaries how to become professional certified loan signing agents. Started in 2009 and been going strong ever since. I'm very proud of our graduates. They're out there hustling and doing what they need to do and doing it the right way.
Awesome, Carol. Thank you. And Laura Biewer from CoachMeLaura.com. Laura, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us what you're all about.
I would love to. Thank you. My name is Laura Biewer, and I am the founder of Coach Me Laura, as well as the owner of At Your Service Mobile Notary and the founder of the Notary Symposium, which is an annual event put on by notaries for notaries. This year will be November 6th, and I'm very excited about that because we've just nailed down our speakers and topics. And what I do is help people who usually get certified or commissioned before they get to me, and now they want to take some next steps. And those next steps could be in just strengthening the skill they've already started, as in the NSA Masterclass, or strengthen their notary skills specifically. And so that's what I do. That's how I help people. And if somebody would like to reach out to me, I do accept quick calls every day. It's a 15-minute call. It's free. And if you've got a question, I'm happy to answer it.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you to everybody who's carving some time out of your Tuesday to grow yourself and your business. This is an amazing opportunity to grow and to learn with three experts, plus connect with notaries all around the country. So as most of you know, the way the TNT call works, it's like an old-fashioned call-in radio show, except we're going to use the raise hand feature in Zoom if you have any questions. And then when we call on you, if you would please tell us your name, the state you're calling from, and then get right into your question. If we need backup information or additional information, we'll ask you some follow-up questions. And remember too, you guys can connect with each other, ask questions in the chat. The chat is not monitored by the facilitators, by Carol, Laura, or myself. So that would just be helping each other. But remember, you can, if you're on the computer, you can save that chat. These replays are posted to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/notary coach, as well as we send out emails and post to our respective blogs and social media as well. Let's jump in. First question. I saw the hand raised super early, and Lisa was here super early. Thanks for being here, Lisa. How can we help in California?
Hey there. Well, let's see. I have two questions. This one would be for Carol, because I signed up for her course, which I enjoyed. That would be my third certification, but I'm very new. When using our records, I went in because I got a Bank of America signing and they said to send it, encrypted. I went over to our records and then signed up. And one thing is you have to send them a password. So it seemed to me, how do I get them to get the password? If I send everything encrypted, then I send them the password. It seems like then that's not.
They require a password because these go encrypted, and I've never had a problem. I never send a password.
Okay, so I can just go ahead and send it.
Just
Do I
send
let
them.
them know that I'm going to be using it this way?
Yeah, and they'll get a notification as soon as that email hits their email. They're going to get a notification that they have an email waiting for them.
Okay. And another thing that happened, I was at my son's graduation in Monterey this weekend. And while we were having dinner, I got a call to see if I could do a signing on Monday at 11. And I was like, whoa, it's like my fourth one. Super excited. They told me it was for one woman. And I tried to get a little information. It was for one woman. And I thought, okay, because I don't like to go to men's houses
Lisa, you just muted. We heard that you don't like to go to men's houses.
Is that it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So, you know, I don't like to go by myself because you don't know who's going to be there. So I like to be safe. I used to own a martial arts school. So I know I err on the side of safety. So Bank of America is very firm about you can't bring anybody with you and all of that. And they told me it was a woman. And then when I got the paperwork, I found out it was a husband and wife. And that when I called them, the husband spoke very clearly to me, but he said, oh, my English is not very good. They were supposed to send me somebody who speaks Spanish. So I said, okay. And I didn't know at this time there was a wife. I thought it was just the husband. So I called the signing service back, emailed and said, you know, I'm not sure I should be doing this. So I've looked in the notary best practices, looking in the notary public handbook. I know that they need to be able to understand me and I need to be able to understand them. So I'm clear with that. But and speaking to him, he was talking to me just like I'm talking to you. So I thought, well, this guy, in my judgment, speaks pretty good English, but maybe he can't read it as well. I'm not sure. How do you draw I know it's a long question, but how do you draw the line there? And when you know, and the signing service is like, oh no, you're fine, go. And I said, well, they really want, and he was disappointed he didn't have someone who spoke Spanish during our phone calls when I was confirming. And I said, look, if I get there at any point, you guys don't understand me, or I don't feel like if I see your face, it's kind of looking like you don't know, I can't continue. And the signing service is just like, you're good, go. So I went and it actually was okay. I noticed they talked among themselves a little bit, but she understood everything I was saying, but I had to give a lot of oaths. And I just am like, I don't want to break the law. And I don't know where the line is there.
Well, I know that some states require that you have a transcriber, that you have someone there that's
in California, you cannot have an
yeah,
interpreter.
and well, I just want to put that out there, that it is up to your state as to whether you do that. To be honest with you, when my husband and I were doing signings years ago in Arizona, there was a lot of Spanish speaking people, and we had to depend on sometimes 7 and 8 year olds to transcribe what the parents, you know, to go back and forth in the language, because at that time, Arizona did not require that. There is, if you run into that, I think you did just fine. And they told you it was okay. As long as you document that, I always tell everyone, document what you're told, try to get it in email, save it, put it in notes in an envelope in the back of your journal, all of that, because someday, if you're called upon to say, well, why did you do this? You have proof that they've instructed you to do it that way. There is also and I can't remember the name of it, but there is an app that's just wonderful, that you can greet people at the door with your laptop or a tablet or something that says in their language exactly what you're doing, and it will actually transcribe things just
So
by
I have
speaking into it.
Google Translate. It's not always perfect though. And I still feel like that line of, is this illegal? Maybe Laura can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Laura,
she
I'd
can talk more about
love to hear your
California for
perspective on
sure.
that.
Yeah, in California, that's going over the line. It's called direct communication. That means whether it's electronic or an interpreter, that causes it not to be direct. So that's the first thing I would say. As a matter of fact, most states are that way. There's only a few that do allow translation to occur, actually, to assist the notary. Regarding your specific case, though, I would tell you that if somebody asked me for bilingual Spanish notary, even though I speak some Spanish and they might speak some English, I'm going to go back to the title company or the signing service to say they're requesting this. I don't know what the wife speaks yet, right? Because I'm just talking to the guy, and a lot of times it's for the spouse that might need that extra support. And of course, I've been a notary, an expert witness in California for lawsuits, and one of them was they did not have anybody to help them understand what they were signing, which isn't my job anyways.
Right.
The notary just spoke English. thought, they followed her instructions, so she thought everything was good. 3 years later, they're in a lawsuit saying, I didn't know I was signing a deed over to my son, right? Just so you don't know what's going to happen in the future. And for me to get in court and say, well, I did it because they told me to, what would Judge Judy say to that?
Well, see, I don't do anything that I do what I want. So I wanted to be clear because I didn't want to be pushed into it. So when I went, he was there. Now, how much, this is like such a fine line thing. So she did, okay, so some people, I realize I live in an area that is probably 95% Spanish speaking. And so I'm probably going to get a lot of these calls. And I felt that, well, first of all, I didn't sleep the night before very well because I was worried about it. And so when I got there, he was great. And he was talking to his wife, but to me, that's still an interpreter, right?
Sure, you're not part of it. If that's not your language.
Right.
Then
so she did understand me. She understood me. And I felt when we got there that it was okay. She understood me. She had lived here for 30 years. She was an American citizen. She did understand, but some people, I think, they feel embarrassed to speak in the other language a lot, or to, or they don't want to read. It's hard, but so the only reason I ended up taking it and didn't just put my foot down and say, look, you've got to, I asked them to find another person because I thought it'd be more comfortable for the signer because that's what he voiced. I guess because the last day of the month, for that, they just weren't going to do it. So I said, if I get there though, and I feel like it's not going to work, I'm going to stop. They said, okay. So when I got there, he was there. The daughter was there too. And she actually works in criminal justice, which is really funny. So I told her, you cannot interpret for your mom. If there's anything she doesn't understand, she needs to tell me. So we were going through, but what I was wondering is, do people ever give the oath in Spanish, and does that work, or is that a no-no?
Sure, you can give it as long as you're speaking the common language. So if you learned how to give the oath in Spanish, there's not a problem with that.
Okay, because I was thinking I do have a couple of years of Spanish under my belt, but I am not fluent. And so I thought, what could I do to be able to do it in my area?
So what a great question you asked yourself. What could I do to handle these situations? Because I think they might be coming up again. So that might be babble. It might be, hey, I need to go brush up my Spanish skills. You don't have to be fluent, but you need to have enough that you can give your instructions in Spanish, in that language, that you could give the oath in Spanish, that you could do some basic things, and that you could pick up if they were talking amongst themselves. That's really what you could do for future. Since you already have some Spanish, just build it. Then, you build the skill, the work will come. But if they specifically tell me, I don't want this, then I'm not going to do it. I don't care what the title company tells me. If they say, well, I'm not sure, then the path of, well, let's just see if we can make this work.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
When he told me, I'm really disappointed in my lender because we've been through this before. And so that was one of this, because they have investors that they've done this several times. I felt they were confident with the paperwork.
You have to make your own decision. So Lisa, the bottom line is you have to use discretion. It's the details of that specific signing and what those conversations were. And nobody here on this call can really tell you what you needed to do. I think you did. And I think Carol was right. You did what you could based on what you understood and what you knew. And I think that's it. You're done with that decision. Move on. What can I do to handle these situations differently in the future?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think the next time I'm going to ask, are these fluent English speakers? Every time, it's just going to be a thing I ask.
And Lisa, under the circumstances, I think you did a really good job.
Oh, thank you, Carol. I'm trying really hard. It took about 2.5 hours. But I got her done and came home, checked everything for the 4th time and sent it on. I got to say, Bank of America really spells it out for you. I don't know if anybody else.
Yeah, I appreciate when we get super detailed instructions.
Love it.
Are accurate. Yep.
Well, thank you.
Lisa, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, thank you. Randy Venters, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Bill. I'm from Washington, and I just actually emailed you. I just emailed you a picture that I wanted to try to share. If we can maybe share it later, of a notary block. Specific question of how to fill it out, which is going to be hard to do on this. So maybe back to next week. But so I guess my question would be, if we don't know how to fill out a notarial block, what are the ramifications if we fill it out incorrectly?
Yeah, that's one of our challenges, because a lot of times we don't find out what our errors are until there's a problem, and there's not a problem until there's a problem. Laura, though, this is kind of right up your alley. I can pull this up and share. Would you like me to do so?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
you can do that. Of course, that's one of the great things about NNA is that they're used to handling all kinds of blocks and can help you with that. So what part were you having a problem with, Randy?
So it says on this day personally appeared before me, that kind of first blank, because without the comma before me, comma, I would say that it would say my name as a notary. But if it had a comma, then I would assume that would want the signers' names.
Yeah, the signers' names is what I see, because then it goes on to say, to me known to be the people. So it's not before me, Laura Biewer, known to be the individual described in the document, right? That doesn't fit.
Okay. Because to me, I looked at it as before me, Randy Ventures, comma, and then I was wanting to add a comma and add kind of both
I see
in
at
there.
the end. Some certificates want, so in California, my name would have to go there and I'd add the comma and then put the people's name, because that's how it's set up in California. In Washington, it might be different. There are states where me is the notary and the notary's name isn't in it.
Right.
Just like in a jurat, before me, there's nowhere to put my name.
Right, but this isn't a Washington document. This came from a lender from out of state. So
Right, but what I'm saying is you're gonna be getting notarial certificates from other states who do it differently than you do or I do.
Right.
And I think what you tried to do was the right thing, is try to figure out, is me enough and I just put the people's name? Or do I just put the people's name? I see there's a comma before to me known. So before me, Joe and James Signer, comma, to me known to be the individual. And I've seen them filled out this way without the notary's name.
okay, because when I called the notary service, they advised me, they looked at it and thought about it, and they called me back, and then they advised me to put before me, Randy Ventures, comma, a notary public, personally appeared before me, their names. And so I added a whole bunch of verbiage in there.
Yeah, I don't know that if it was that far away, I would have just used my own certificate.
Right.
Just would have done that. So yeah, if I have to do too much correction, then I just go with my own state language. Once I know this is an acknowledgement, I just pull my own instead. But if you had done before me, your name, comma, and then the people's names, I don't think that would have changed the meaning of this certificate. You would have been fine, even if you had gone that way.
Okay. And then second question to go with this, at the bottom where it says residing at, I've got one signing service that says it should be either my full address or at least the city that I live in. And then I've got another signing service that says it should be the county that I'm residing in. How do you fill that part out?
They're not clear. I have been told the same thing, city, state. I reside at Modesto, California. I don't think it's going to be an issue either way, whether I put Stanislaus, California, or the Stanislaus is up at the top for me in the venue. So I'm not so worried about repeating it down below. You want to know where to find me? I'm in Modesto, California. Stanislaus is a very big county. So that's how I would have done it. But since they didn't give you specific instruction about which they wanted, choose one. I don't think either one would have caused a rejection.
I have found that on the Western states where in any state where the Secretary of State for the entire state regulates notaries, that putting your city and state is okay there. In some of those, like I think it's Ohio, where each individual county kind of manages their notaries, they like to have the county that you're registered in. That's
And
the
it could,
only time I've heard it.
it could make also a difference in Louisiana where they are not, they have notaries that are by parish, not for the whole state.
Yeah.
And so that may be an issue. But this is Washington. This is for you, Randy.
Yeah. So
Right.
most part, city and state's okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Great question. Thanks for sending that in. All right.
It's
Jennifer
so much
D.
easier when you see the certificate on the screen.
Way easier. Jennifer D, thanks for being here. Want to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi, I'm in California and I am still waiting for my commission. So I'm brand spanking new and I was very excited to become a notary and start doing loan signings. I'm also a real estate agent, brand new real estate agent.
All right.
And I was talking to a title company and he told me, oh, we would never, ever hire a real estate agent to do a loan signing. And I thought, okay. So I just wanted to make sure, because I'm like, which way am I going to lean? Am I going to lean real estate or loan signing? Is that really the case?
Hold on one second. Let me get everybody muted. We got some people yelling here. Hey guys, keep yourself on mute for me, okay? So I'd love to be able to keep the power in your hands. All right, Jennifer, this is a great question. I'm going to jump in here first. The thing is with value, it's really in the eye of the beholder. So some people, some companies will see value in the fact that you're a real estate agent because you can dance around a real estate conversation really well. You kind of understand the industry and help guide people in conversations. Other companies and people will not see the value in that for a couple different reasons. And the problem is a few bad apples back in the day really kind of spoiled it for everybody else. And what happened is, you know, some real estate agents would start poaching buyers right at the closing table. Like, I can't believe your real estate agent didn't show up to your signing. Can you believe? Here's my card. You call me next time. I come to all my closings. And they would just grab them up like that, which really put a bad taste in the mouth, and it made the title companies look really bad. Because remember who a title company's ideal customer is? It's loan officers and real estate agents. So if they're sending a loan signing agent out to their clients' closings and that signing agent is poaching their customers, that causes a huge ordeal. So bigger companies like First American Title, Fidelity, I think they actually have policies against it. So you wouldn't necessarily use that as a selling tool, like a differentiation in your skill set. You can talk about having real estate knowledge and being able to dance around the conversation in different ways, but sharing or promoting the fact that you're a licensed real estate agent could backfire on you. On that same token, I've seen it work the other way around. So it's a very individual decision for some of these signing companies and some of these escrow officers that do the hiring. Carol, Laura, any other feedback in that?
Yeah, I do. I had something happen a few years ago. A very large signing service who hired my graduates like that, no experience. Called me up one day after one of my graduates sent him his resume. And he said, I will never, ever hire this guy. I said, are you kidding me? He had been a mortgage broker. He'd been real estate agent. He had done so much in this industry and he had a beautiful resume. He said, the one thing I want is a great signing agent. And it was the one thing that he didn't put on his resume. He listed all the other qualities he had, including being a real estate agent. And he said, I will never hire this guy because all he cared about was getting good signing agents.
Can't get my pitch up here.
Sorry, let me get everything.
Yes. I would really like to do the loan signing. In fact, I'm probably leaning that way. And I thought real estate agent would help, but and then I wasn't sure if that was an all-encompassing or is it that particular title company and possibly others? Is it a hard and fast rule that they won't do it? So that was kind of my question.
Yep,
I keep it to yourself.
Yep, and
Okay.
then I hope my answer answered that for you, Jennifer. So it's
Thank you so
it's
much.
not something I would have on the bullhorn for sure.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Yep, you got it. Now, on that same token too, though, as you're exploring and you get into this real estate world, where the real value can come in is the relationships that you end up making. You know, if you have a relationship with an escrow officer that's one-on-one, and you've closed a few deals, you go out to happy hour, your kids go to the same school, that kind of stuff tends to help when you've got some sort of conflict happening, like a license that might get in the way. So you can leverage relationships to help make this way, and in both worlds, to make it work. Kristen Benbow, also always a pleasure to see you on here. I know you're in California, so tell us what's going on.
Well, a couple of things. I do want to start my calls now with pointing out my dumb mistakes so that you guys don't do it. Dumb mistake number one that I did the other day. I took a signing and I printed all the documents and then I called them. Don't ever do that.
Call them first, right?
Yeah, call them first, because the lady said, "Oh, my husband is a traveling salesman. He's in Nebraska right now, and it's going to be, he's going to be chased down." So we had to cancel that after printing out a ream of paper. That kind of stinks. So, yeah, good lesson. So I did have a signing last night, and that actually didn't turn out too well. I did ask the signing service if and this is a new thing. I was trying. I didn't know. They said, did they get the documents yet? I asked the people, and they said, no, I haven't seen the documents yet. So that made me a little nervous. And I mentioned it to the signing service, and they said, well, did they want to see it? And I thought, why wouldn't they send them the closing disclosure? So I get there, and all the numbers are different. And so I couldn't move forward. I couldn't get her to sign anything. I wasn't having any luck with the signing service. We called the lender, and it turns out I just had to leave and take the documents with me. So no question there specifically, but there were some documents that I did want to ask about. And how do you answer, and this is really for anybody, there's the first one is, I'm struggling with the per diem interest one. I just don't know how to explain it, and I'm struggling with it, and I'm just kind of jamming it towards them, like, figure it out.
Which one?
So this is going to be for Laura or Carol, please, because you're based in California.
Yeah,
Carol does a great job.
Yeah, Carol,
of explaining that particular one.
We've talked about it so much, Carol.
I know. I should just make a recording and go. Okay, the per diem, it confuses everybody. Honestly, you're not alone, Kristen. But it's real simple. They have a choice. If they want to fund it, if they're in a real big hurry to close and they want to fund their loan on, let's say, a Friday, they understand that they're going to have to pay interest on their loan for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and possibly Monday. And they're going to be able to fund and close on Tuesday. Okay. So they're being charged extra money for that, as opposed to if they're in no hurry and they say, no, it's okay, I'll wait till Monday. They're going to save whatever interest that is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's just a matter of their choosing whether they're willing to pay that per diem, whatever it is, was $50, $80 a day, or just wait until Monday to fund the loan, and then they don't have to pay but just one day.
That makes sense. It feels like it's backwards on here, and when I reread it, it says I elect disbursement of my loan proceeds to occur on any day but a Monday, or on a business day immediately following a bank holiday. So in this case, we are on the cusp of a holiday here. So they would this first one would, if they selected that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you cut out, but yeah, it's just letting them know they're going to be paying interest. The earlier they fund, the more days they're going to be paying interest, especially if it's over a weekend.
Now, here's what's really weird about a document like this and this whole thing. They're paying the interest no matter what. It's just whether or not it's going to be on the real loan or the new loan or the old loan. It's not like they get 3 free days, right? Because that other loan has to be paid off. So if it's not paid off, they're paying interest on that one, or they're paying interest on this one. So I don't know that the impact is as big as some
Well,
people
it
think
is, Bill, because the interest on the old loan is going to not be paid. I mean, it's going to be due regardless, because that loan is not going to be able to be paid off until probably Tuesday.
Right.
So
That's
they're
what I'm
going to
saying.
actually be paying two interest rates, new and
Because it
old.
won't be paid off until
Yeah,
that
if
day
they
too?
don't close until Monday or Tuesday, where they're not, the old loan's not going to be paid off.
But in the end, it's not very much money. I mean, I
Yes.
see those numbers. It's between $20 and $40
Yeah,
a day for 2 or
Yeah.
3 days. No matter
So
what way they go.
it's, yeah,
But
this
for
one's,
some people, it means a lot of money. So, it's,
Well, they're making the choice, not me.
that's
So,
right.
and I'm not explaining it further. You know, what Carol gave you was it. And now if they can't understand it, they need to make a phone call. It's not your place to take it any further than what Carol did.
I get that, but I'm still even looking, I get what you're explaining, but I don't know how that corresponds to what's on the sheet. So I'm looking at occur on Monday. That's the one that's gonna pay less.
Yes.
Occur on Monday pays less. Got it. Okay. Makes sense to me. This other one is right after it. It's a certificate of compliance with California Civil Code, blah, 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 California Fin Code. So, I mean, I'm not gonna walk through this whole thing because there's a bunch of boxes and all that. At what point can when does it turn into a dumb question when you're asking the signing service? Like, how do I fill this out? I don't know where to draw the line.
You know what? I'm going to tell you what I tell my graduates, okay? There's no dumb question. I know you don't want to come off like a dummy, calling a signing service or a title company. But if you really can't find the answers, those are the phone calls I get all the time, okay? And I try to avoid having them have to call. But there are times when you've got to call and ask them, because the dumbest question is the one that does not get asked, because it never gets an answer.
True. All right. Well, I'll ask them.
And also, I don't think the signing company is the right person to ask that question to. That's going to be the closing agent or the lender.
Yeah, Bill's right.
So,
Yeah, this one.
and the other thing is, some of the best ways, and Laura, I can't remember if I heard this from you or if I heard it from other California notaries, but when they see that document in the document package, they actually get proactive, and they either send it ahead of time and suggest that they get the advice that they need, either from their escrow officer or their tax advisor, or they make copies there so that they leave a copy behind with instructions to get the advice they need and to scan it or email it back into the closing agent prior to funding. That way, you're not just sitting there for 45 minutes trying to figure out how to fill out the document. Laura, was that you?
Well, part of that was me. And anytime there's a document that's not notarized that I don't understand well enough, there's nobody to talk to, and they're not wanting to sign it like that, I pull it aside and say, okay, guess what? We got 2 copies here. I got my package, you got your package. Let's do it one way, then the other way. Or we'll leave one blank for you, and that way, if the way we did it was incorrect, you've got another one that can just be scanned in. Or we'll just hold that one so that you can scan it in after. We are not title. We are not lenders. We are not expected to know every single document and every variation thereof. We do the best we can with what we see. The more experience you get, the more variety you see, the better you start to become. And you can't have 10 years of experience with documents in 2 months, right? It does take time doing that. And sometimes you have to be creative. And one of those creative ways is, if it's not notarized and you can't get to anybody, leave it for them to do after.
I'd like to add something to that that I do work with my graduates on, and that is when you get a tax package in California, it's huge. It's the 593 or something. If those people cannot answer those questions about the home when they purchased it, how much they paid, about the percentage of ownership and all of that, if they can't answer that, Don't let them guess at it. I honestly, I mean, maybe Bill and Laura disagree with me, but I tell my students to take it home. Let them take it home with them. If they can't get a hold of a tax advisor while we're at the table, they need to take it home, get their tax advisor, tax attorney, whoever it is that helps them with their taxes, to get on it immediately. And then they have to be responsible for sending that document back, or those documents back to a title company or lender, wherever it has to go. Because if they don't answer those questions right, it could cost them tens of thousands of dollars in capital gains taxes. So this is a major thing. You can't just let them fill out anything. If they're not sure, I would just tell them, you need to seek advice from someone, because the ramifications, sending in incorrect information with the IRS. I've not seen the IRS change their mind very often, so it could be catastrophic for them.
Great advice. All right, Kristen, did we do a good job of answering those?
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate your time and responses.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Quintus, lovely to see you. If you'd like to unmute, tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi, Bill. Thanks for taking my question. I'm from New York State, and I have two questions. I know when you're getting loan documents, they would include both the alter statement and the CD. Now, if with the loan amount in the alter statement and the CD, if the numbers vary in each, do you still go over both documents, or should you just go over the one that has, I don't know, whichever amount, whether one be lower or the loan amount be more, or on the alter statement than on the CD? How do you handle presenting that type of document if the information, or you just go over the numbers, let them figure out and let them see whether or not the numbers are different, or you just have them sign the document where it need to be notarized?
Okay, great question, Quintus, because we do run into this quite a bit. Remember though, as far as notarization, the closing disclosure and the settlement statement are not notarized. So I just want to say that first. And then I wonder if Carol, what advice do you have when the settlement statement and the closing disclosure, the numbers don't jive?
Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. And what I do tell my graduates is that they need to talk to the lender. And usually what it is it has something to do with the payoff. Like the escrow, what they do is they get the demands for the payoff, and they might get it, let's say dated May the 10th. And then all of the closing disclosure and the ALTA is done within a week. But now we've got payments been made. And so the payoff oftentimes is incorrect. But if it's really off, and if it's really a lot of money or something, I definitely just tell them, you got to call the loan officer. And that's what I tell my students, to explain it to them. It's not up to us to explain it or to decide why they're different. And if they're concerned about it, if it's enough money that they're expressing a concern, I just tell them to call their loan officer.
Yeah, I concur with Carol. The first thing is, if the numbers don't match, it sends up a red flag. Something's not jiving here. I need to figure out what's going on. And if it's loan amounts, to me, that's definitely an indication that something's not off, because that loan amount should be the same on both of those. The fees and stuff might be different. The cash to close might be different, but the solid number should be in that same ballpark to me. So it triggers a conversation. And I work escrow direct almost 100% now. So I can reach out to the closing agent and say, hey, what's going on here? What would you like me to tell them, or what do I need to convey, or what's the real cash to close? With signing companies, it can be a little more challenging, but you can still reach out and see if they have those answers, or if you have the contact information to the closing agent, you can reach out to them directly as well.
Yeah, Bill,
Laura,
can I
did you
jump
have
in with
anything?
that real quick?
I'm sorry, who was
Bill?
that?
Joycelyn.
Hey, Joycelyn.
Huh?
Hi, guys. I just wanted to say,
Oh, I just got the sign here.
Hold on.
Somebody else.
Yeah, there we go.
Can I just ask one last question, Bill? Or
Yeah, Joycelyn, hold on your comment. I'm sorry. We don't want to open this up as a forum. Otherwise, it might get a little out of control. So we'll just stick with what we got there. And Quintus, if you'd like to ask a follow-up question, by all means, please do.
All right, sure. Thanks, Bill. With regard to accepting signings, sometimes you're not, you don't know whether or not the deed or the mortgage would require witnesses. Do you ask the signer to have witnesses stand by, or is it something that they should already know? Or sometimes the signers may be surprised that witnesses is required, or sometimes you don't know necessarily if witnesses are required. So should it be a practice to tell the signers to have witnesses stand by?
All right, great question. Great question, Quintus. And yeah, they sideswipe us sometimes, right? Laura, what advice do you have in these situations?
Well, first of all, I know which states require witnessing. So if it's one of those 5 states, then already I'm going to be asking. I think we're going to need witnesses here, and I would confirm that. So that'd be the first thing, is know which states. It's not like there's 80 states. There's only 5 that require it. That would be the proactive thing. And if it's not one of those states, I don't know what else would require in a loan signing. Now, there's lots of other kinds of documents out there that I handle that are not loan signing that might require witnessing. But for me, if it's not one of those, then I'm not asking them to hold people unless it's a different issue, like credible witness. We're not talking about document witness, right? So for document witnesses, I know the states. I don't worry about it if it's not one of those states.
Laura, does it put you on the spot to tell us those 5 states right now?
Well, let's see if I can remember them. So Florida, Connecticut, South Carolina,
Louisiana.
Thank you. 1, 2, that's 4. There's another one. Who's in a state on the call that requires a document witness for your deed or deed of trust? There's a
Georgia.
Georgia. Thank you. There was another one, but they stopped. They took it off. I can't remember who that was. But anyway, so if it's one of those states, your antenna should be going up. I need to ask about witnesses for this. If it's not one of those states, then I'm not going to ask people to try to find people. And that's probably 99% accurate. Is there a chance 1 in 100 that you could need a witness? Absolutely. But I'm not worried about 1 in 100.
And then if Quintus, the overall, the responsibility, like if you do have one of those 1% situations that Laura's talking about, where it requires a witness, it's really the responsibility of the hiring company to let you know what the expectations are. You can't, because a lot of these are documents, they're just boilerplate templates. So they have witness lines.
Right.
It's not our job to interpret what that means and who needs a witness, and if it's outside of our normal purview. So if they need you to have a witness for one particular document, like sometimes we'll see this in commercial loan signings where they want witnesses to witness the executives or the principals to sign something, they need to share that with us so we can at least be part of the conversation. And I like to confirm, hey, they're telling me that we've got to have witnesses for these documents. Do you have that in place? Or is that something that you wanted us to take care of? If you want us to take care of it, it's going to be $50 per witness. And as soon as they hear that price, they're like, no, I'll have my secretary do it. I'll have my neighbor come over or something like that. But I've had some who are like, yeah, just take care of it. I don't even want to worry about it. And we'll do that for that price.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome, Quintus. Thank you. All right, Suhaili, thank you for being here. I happen to know that you're in Texas. How can we help today?
I am, and it's so funny that question comes up because it's actually very similar.
Perfect timing.
So the question is, someone brought this up and I actually didn't know how to answer it myself, but it was a situation where the property, the signing is here in Texas. The property is in I think it was South Carolina. And in the instructions, there was no witness, like they didn't say that you needed a witness, and the notary was unfamiliar that you needed a witness. So they signed, and then the signing service came back saying, hey, you forgot this. We need you to redo it. And the notary was actually out of town. And so it was a situation where the signing service said, well, we can't pay another notary to go out and have this signed. So you're the one who's going to do it in order to fund. It was kind of like, whose fault, I guess, is that, because it wasn't in the instructions, and the notary said, hey, well, I was not aware. And then the signing service is saying, well, it's your job to ask questions, which I think to some degree is like true, but in a situation like that, like what's the best course of action? Because now they're not willing to pay to have another notary, do the witnessing, nor pay that notary that did the closing. How would that work in a situation like that?
Well, that's a great question. And number one, I'll let Laura or Carol answer first.
Carol's head shaking.
That's not going to fly.
Mine's just going to be an opinion.
That was up
it's not going to be a way to handle it.
No,
There's just a certain way to do business, and there's a certain way not to do business. And
I would never work with them again.
A signing company that would jam up their own client's closing just to rub it in a notary's face, I would never do business with them again. That would be my opinion on how to handle that.
No.
And see, the concerning is, I think I know, I mean, I can't do it because I'm out of town too. I know the signer. He's military, he's very up there, and he has that particular attitude. So I'm scared how this is going to go.
Well, I'll tell you what's probably happening. I think they probably want the notary to they want to backdate it. And that's why they want to use the original notary. So there's probably something else going on there, because there's no reason why we couldn't just send out another notary, pay the $75 to send a notary and get the problem solved and get the customer taken care of.
Okay. So I guess how would he do that? I don't know. Like, I'm thinking, like, if I was in that situation, like, I really wouldn't know if I'm out of town and I have no one that could do me the favor, what would be my response to them? Other than sorry, buddy,
Well, Suhaili, I mean, that's the thing. There are things that are out of our control.
Right.
We can't break integrity. We can't break the law just because we're out of town and we're not able to take care of this. The situation sucks. I'm sorry it's in this way. Here's what I can do. I have 6 other notaries that would be willing to do this. I'll even eat the cost, send a new notary out. That's something I would do.
Yeah.
It's $75 to preserve.
Pay them, take it out of my pay.
Yep, absolutely. Always a solution there that I think, and it might cost a little bit of money, but if it preserves the relationship, I think it would be worth it.
Right.
And then my second question, which I got caught off, I think last week or whenever, I was out in the freaking jungle there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And I think this was more towards you, Bill. Really quick question on LinkedIn, because it's based off of
Hold on, somebody's trying to cut you off again, Suhaili. I got you. All right. Got her muted. We're good.
I'm doing your daily dues in reference to pinning people, and I'm doing it in LinkedIn. So I'm getting with like 10 people, 10 of the connections. What would be your opinion or your advice in reference to, like, when I reach out to someone and say, hey, in other words, like, hey, thanks for the connection. Why did you want to connect? And their response is, well, I just want to get connected with other notaries. Or, well, you look a certain kind of way. Or, hey, babe, I've got that too. So I'm like, is it bad? Or is it a no to, like, I hate to see this word, but like delete the connection? Like, how does that, like, I'm trying to, I don't know. I'm a little bit new on LinkedIn, so I'm trying to figure out, like, what's the right way to do that?
Okay. Well, great problem to have. And I love that you're taking this on, because LinkedIn is extremely powerful, but also what would you do in real life if you were in a business networking meeting and some guy came up to you and said, hey, babe, love the way you look. Let's connect. How would you handle that?
Well, on that one, I just politely leave.
Yeah, well, then there might be a knee involved, because that's totally
Oh,
inappropriate.
yes.
And on LinkedIn, not everybody knows. And part of the reason that Sandra and I wrote that book is not everybody knows the etiquette of LinkedIn. They don't understand the etiquette of social media in general. You can see it by rude comments, all caps. You can see people pitching in the first intro. The first thing they say is "Hi, bye" from me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of this etiquette. So you can give people space and grace, but you are under absolutely no obligation to accept connection requests from anybody that you don't see a reason to be connected to. And I encourage you to really, especially on LinkedIn, is get really particular about the network that you're building. Just because you're all notaries together does not necessarily mean that you're going to want to be connected to them. You want to get, sorry guys, we got lots of people unmuting themselves, so please don't do that if you can avoid it. But yeah, get really particular and strategic about who you're connecting with, why you're there, what are you building? And it's okay to challenge people to say, hey, what is it? What value do we have together? How can we support each other in our business? And they don't have an answer for you yet. There's no judgment on them. They're just not at a place where they're thinking about how to support you in your business. They're just thinking about them at the time. And this is an evolutionary process. You just meet them where they are. If it works for you, invite them in. If it doesn't, they don't know. They never see that you've rejected them.
Right.
Okay, that was because I felt bad. On some of them were obvious, but I felt bad because I do have, because of my other services, I have like a lot of financial people, and then they try to sell me stuff like, hey, I have this information, why don't you join this? And I'm like, well, what's the information about? Well, you got to join the thing. And I'm like, no, thank you.
Yes. And that's, unfortunately, that's the worst. And we have an entire section about it inside the book, because
Yeah.
that way of connecting is just not appreciated. It's a very lazy way to have a conversation. And the way you want to look at social media, especially if it's brand new, guys, when you know each other and you can go back and forth, that's different. But when you're just building a relationship and you're using social media, it's very similar to a real life conversation. If you wouldn't walk up to somebody and just throw up a business opportunity and sell them, try to sell them something right away, then don't do it on social media. And I guarantee you, if you're doing that in person, you're probably not having the results that you want, because it just turns people off. It takes a little more work to really lay the groundwork. It takes more time because we're going to get to know people. We're going to let things kind of organically happen before we pitch them anything. You might not pitch them anything at all because they're just not a right fit. Maybe it turns out you don't like them. You don't want to do business with them. Now you know, and you can move on to something else. So definitely take your time and get really strategic and really know that one person. And guys, when you own this in your core, it will change the way you communicate. But one person can change everything in your business. And it has for me many, many times. The right person, right escrow officer, the right branch manager, the right HR person, as it was for me, sees your content or sees a message from you, just trying to connect or trying to support them in their business. And it opens up doors, and it could be worth hundreds of thousands, millions over years, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in business. This stuff matters. Thank you, Suhaili, for bringing it up.
Bill, I have to add something.
Yeah, please do, Carol.
This old face of mine, it gets catfished on Facebook. I get these loving notes from these creepy guys. And I'm like, they picked the oldest broad out there and go after me. That's one of the ways that they get to these older people, these older women who fall in love with these guys that live somewhere in Africa or something.
You've got to watch out for the creepers, and both sexes get it. I think women probably get it a lot more than guys do, but I cannot tell you how many Instagram messages that I get. And the first thing is a picture of things I don't want to be looking at. So that's why, when you message people on Instagram, I encourage you not to just say hi or hey babe, those types of things I ignore right away. So jump in, connect, add value, and either ask a question or just connect, build a relationship, but be a little more specific and direct without crossing boundaries.
Well, I've thought about making three-way connections, me, the catfisher, and the police department.
You're going to need a hotline, Carol.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And then one piggyback question to that,
Sure.
because I know as notaries, I feel that it's really a good thing to like get to know other notaries and network, just because you never know, right? Would you apply that same answer if notaries were your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. I would be at least strategic about it and connect. So the challenge with LinkedIn is you get a lot of times just people blanket connecting, and they're not taking the time to introduce themselves or having a clear path to value. And I think that's really important. This is not, LinkedIn is not Facebook. As much as people want to complain that it is, and people are sharing too much on LinkedIn, I get it, but LinkedIn is a professional network. And if you're going to connect with people, be strategic about it and tell them why you'd like to connect. And then don't sell them right after they agree to that, because that makes people, that ruins the dynamic there. So I think it's okay. Even if you accept people who maybe don't have a connection message, you can ask them right away, hey, I just wanted to pop in. I noticed you saw the connection, or you made the connection. How can I support you in your business? Or how can we support each other in our business? Those are two of the best questions you can ask anytime. The challenge is, if you do have a business that you're trying to connect with other notaries, it might make sense to get a little more loose in your connections, but you still want to make sure they're going to be there to add value. You don't want them to, you don't want a bad apple getting into the crate either, right? You want to make sure that there's some sort of connection there. So even if they don't have a message, I would send them a message.
Okay, that works. Thank you.
All right, you're so welcome. Thank you, guys. That was a wonderful session. The last 3 minutes, I'm going to commit to our co-host, Laura Biewer, because she's got something really exciting coming up that she wants to tell us about.
Thanks very much, Bill. Well, the first one is very quick. Today at 5 o'clock, it is a notary successful journey on Clubhouse. And so whether you're an Android user or iPhone, now everybody can get in. 5 o'clock, a notary's successful journey. We're going to talk about luck and opportunity. The other thing that I'm really excited to talk about is, many of you know that I coach one-on-one per state, and one at a time help people learn their statutes a little deeper than what you might need to just pass an exam. And what I realized is, in some of the bigger states and more active states, it's taking a long time to get to everybody one at a time. So I'm introducing a group training by state so that I can, one, address multiple people and take care of notaries sooner than later. And of course, because it's group, we're going to be able to offer it at a better price point. So if you are in the state of California or want to learn about California, that's my first state. It's already on my website, and it would be to go past the preparation, the 6-hour class that we take, because that prepares you to take an exam, hopefully. That does not prepare you to be a competent notary. There's a big difference. It's like studying for that DMV test, written test, and then they say, okay, you can drive now, without any behind the wheel driving, practice. So that is going to be the first one, and it's going to be on June 19th, which is a Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific Coast time. And if you're interested, come on over to Coach Me Laura, and I would love to have you. And then I will be doing another one, but it'll be a different state. And every time I'm going to be picking a different state. And also, if you're not California, but hey, it's like, I want group rather than one-on-one, when are you going to do my state? There's a waiting list. So if you go down to the bottom of my homepage on coachmelora.com, there's a form that you can click and say, here's my name, here's the state I'm interested in. Because if I see a whole bunch of interest in a particular state, I'm going to grab that state next so I can take care of more notaries sooner instead of having to say, I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait a few weeks for me in order to get to you. So I'm very excited and I hope I'm going to be seeing some of you in that upcoming class. Yeah.
What's that coupon code for the California?
Oh, yeah. So the way we're going to make it better is, you know what? We love our TNT crowd. So TNT, so it's not TNT, but we love you anyways. It is peeps. It's for my peeps. P-E-E-P-S, peeps. Isn't it peeps, Bill? Or is it peeps?
It is peeps. And I'm putting the link in the chat with the coupon code. I think it saves.
Yeah,
like,
we made a significant discount for our peeps.
Yeah, huge discount on
Only
that
for
one
you.
for the group training. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, Laura. I'm so glad that you are doing this because I know from coaching people all over the country, but even with state mandated training, it's not enough to really, people come out of that test thinking, okay, great, now I have a commission, but now what? And I know that you do such a great job of walking them through those specifics. So that's an awesome opportunity for all of you in California. And that puts I'm sorry, Laura, did I cut you off? Did you have
No, I just want to
comments?
say that we'll keep going with other states and I'm still doing one-on-one because there are going to be some smaller states that I just get one person who says, okay, I want it. Well, then let me take care of you, right? It's those states where there's too many of you and I need a better way to facilitate that.
Wonderful. And I see some questions in the chat. Once again, if you are in a state and you would like to have group training, Laura at her website, on her homepage at coachmelora.com, if you scroll to the very bottom, there's a link to a waiting list. Just enter your name and your state. And that way, Laura can see what the interest is and she can organize a state-specific training for you as well. Thank you very much, Laura. And then Carol, any closing comments from you today?
No, just everybody have a great rest of your week and be safe. And nice to see everybody here.
All right. Likewise. And guys, I hope you have a wonderful end of month. Thank you for carving some more time out of your day to grow yourself and your business on a Tuesday. And if you do want to save the chat, if you're on the computer, you can save the chat by hitting the 3 little dots in the lower right-hand corner. Hit save. If you're on your phone, I'm afraid I don't think there is a way there. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you later.